Mr. Olympia 2025 updates arrive with a storm of intensity, and at the center of this electrifying moment stands Nick Walker, the man they call the Mutant. The bodybuilding world has been holding its breath, waiting to see if the beast from New Jersey would rise again with his trademark mass, freakish density, and relentless spirit. Walker steps onto the stage not as a contender who whispers of potential, but as a warrior who roars with presence, sculpted in a way that seems more monstrous and cinematic than reality should allow. His physique is not just muscle. It is a living sculpture of power, a canvas of sacrifice painted by years of blood, sweat, and iron. As the lights blaze over the stage, Nick Walker's silhouette emerges like a force of nature. Shoulders wide as if carved from granite, arms thick as coiled steel, and legs that resemble pillars holding up the weight of destiny. He embodies bodybuilding's rawest essence. The crowd erupts at the first sight of him, for his name alone carries weight, a promise of shock and awe. Every pose he hits feels like a hammer striking an anvil, echoing with dominance, commanding respect. But Nick Walker's story is more than just muscle. It is the tale of resilience, a saga forged through injuries, comebacks, and the unbreakable will of a man who refuses to be denied. In a sport where perfection is demanded and flaws are magnified under the brightest lights, Walker embraces his role as both the beast and the fighter. His nickname, the Mutant, is not just hype, it's a reflection of how far beyond normal human limits he has pushed himself. Each vein, each striation across his chest and back, speaks to years of discipline, sacrifice, and an unyielding hunger to be crowned the best in the world. The journey to Mr. Olympia 2025 has not been an easy one. Walker has walked through shadows of doubt, endured setbacks that would break ordinary men, and faced critics who questioned his place among bodybuilding's elite. Yet, every time he was counted out, he returned bigger, sharper, and hungrier. This year, the anticipation surrounding his performance is unmatched. Fans chant his name with the fervor of gladiators calling for their champion, and competitors know that standing next to him requires their very best. On stage, as the battle of giants unfolds, Nick Walker stands unmoved, as though destiny itself had carved a space for him under the spotlight. His front double biceps pose is a thunderclap, arms exploding outward with freakish density, his waist tight, his chest broad and full. The side chest reveals slabs of muscle, so thick they look impenetrable. His quads, separated and vascular, look like the very blueprint of power. And when he turns around, unleashing his back double biceps, it feels as though a mountain range has come alive. Spreading wide, towering over the competition. The energy in the arena grows, the judges watch closely, and the world waits. Nick Walker is not just performing, he is making a statement. He is declaring that freak factor, combined with balance and conditioning, can dominate even in an era of aesthetics and symmetry. The Mutant brings a package so commanding that it forces everyone to look, to respect, and to remember. As the final call-outs are made, the crowd knows they are witnessing history in motion. Nick Walker, with his larger-than-life presence, has become more than a bodybuilder. He is a spectacle, a symbol of what happens when human determination fuses with an unrelenting pursuit of greatness. Mr. Olympia 2025 updates have sent ripples of excitement across the bodybuilding world. And while new champions rise and familiar faces return, one name continues to echo louder than most: Greene. Though absent from the Olympia stage for years, his presence still looms over the sport like a shadow, a reminder of the artistry, intensity, and unmatched charisma he brought every time he stepped under the lights. For fans, the Olympia stage feels incomplete without the Predator, and in 2025 his legend still grows, inspiring whispers about what could have been and what might still come. Greene is not just a bodybuilder. He is a spectacle, a performance in motion, a force that turns competition into theater. Every time he posed, it was more than muscle, it was a story. His routines blurred the lines between sport and art, leaving audiences entranced. Even now, in discussions about bodybuilding's greatest athletes, Kai's name rises effortlessly, spoken with a tone of admiration reserved only for those who truly transcend their craft. His aura is cinematic, his physique sculpted like a living monument to discipline, struggle, and passion. Standing on stage, Kai was never merely competing. He was embodying years of sacrifice, grueling workouts, endless meals, battles with doubt, and the iron discipline of a man determined to transform himself into something extraordinary. His physique was a masterpiece. Round muscled bellies, sweeping quads, massive arms, and a back that looked as if it were carved from stone. But what set him apart was not just the size or symmetry. It was the emotion he carried with him. When Kai posed, he told a story of resilience, of hunger, of dreams still unfulfilled. That narrative struck a chord with fans who saw in him not just a competitor, but a mirror of their own struggles and hopes. In 2025, as the world celebrates bodybuilding's biggest stage, Greene's absence is still felt, and his impact remains undeniable. Younger athletes often speak of him as their inspiration, the man who proved that bodybuilding could be more than flexing. It could be poetry in motion. His legacy lies not just in his near victories against legends like Heath, but in the way he captured hearts across the globe. He became a cultural icon, from dominating stages to appearing in films, television, and countless media platforms, carrying bodybuilding beyond the gym and into mainstream recognition. The Predator's journey was never an easy one. His rise came from the harshest realities, a story of a boy who grew up with little but found strength in the iron. Every rep, every set was more than training. It was survival, it was purpose. That struggle, carved into every fiber of his being, gave him a presence. Unlike any other. On stage, he was unshakable. Off stage, he was philosophical, often reminding the world that bodybuilding was not only about building the body, but about building the mind, the spirit, and the will to endure. Now, in the wake of Olympia 2025, Greene remains a symbol of possibility. Fans still dream of a comeback, still hope to see him once more standing in the spotlight, bringing his artistry back to the stage where it belongs. Whether or not he ever competes again, the mark he has left is permanent. Few athletes transcend time, but Kai has done so. His name is spoken alongside the greatest, his routines replayed like classic films, his physique studied like a masterpiece of art and science combined. The cinematic story of Greene is not bound by trophies or titles. It is written in the hearts of fans and the countless individuals he has inspired to pick up a weight, to chase a dream, to rise beyond hardship. Mr. Olympia 2025 updates echo with intensity, and among the storm of muscle, symmetry, and grit, one name stands tall like an unshakable monument: Hadi Choopan. Known as the Persian Wolf, he is not just another competitor. He is a force of nature, a relentless warrior who has risen from the rugged mountains of Iran to dominate the grandest stage in bodybuilding. Every year he steps under the Olympia lights, the atmosphere changes, the audience leans in, and the world braces for a display of raw power blended with artistry. Hadi's journey to this point has been anything but easy. From his early days, training in humble gyms, fighting through limited resources, to defying the odds and earning his place among the greatest, his story carries a cinematic weight. His physique is not merely the result of iron and sweat. It's a reflection of discipline, sacrifice, and an unyielding hunger for greatness. In 2025, as the spotlight sharpens on him once more, he stands sculpted like a living statue, carved with precision, veins like lightning streaking across granite muscle, a physique that tells the tale of years of pain turned into power. The crowd watches in silence as Hadi poses, every movement calculated, every flex a symphony of muscle control. His back spreads like the wings of a predator, his chest rises like an armored shield, and his arms coil with the density of forged steel. Yet beyond his sheer size, it is his conditioning that sets him apart. His cuts are sharp, his proportions flawless, his presence commanding. On stage, he transforms into something larger than life, a warrior embodying both ferocity and elegance. But what truly captivates about Hadi Choopan is not just his physical dominance, it's his spirit. He carries the pride of a nation, the hopes of fans who see in him a symbol of resilience. Each time he steps on stage, it feels like a battle between man and destiny. He doesn't just perform, he fights, every pose like a strike, every stare like a declaration that he belongs among the immortals. The audience feels it, the judges feel it, and his competitors know it. Hadi is never to be underestimated. As Mr. Olympia 2025 unfolds, the whispers grow louder. Can Hadi Choopan reclaim the throne? Can he etch his name deeper into the history books? His rivals bring mass, height, and aesthetics. but Hadi brings fire. He brings the hunger that only years of struggle can breed. Standing under the blinding lights, drenched in determination, he represents more than bodybuilding. He represents the triumph of human will. The Persian Wolf is once again at the gates of Olympia glory, and whether he claims the crown or pushes the legends to their limits, one thing remains certain. Hadi Choopan has carved his place in history. He is not merely competing. He is writing a legacy, one flex at a time, one roar at a time, under the immortal spotlight of Mr. Olympia. Mr. Olympia 2025 updates are echoing across the bodybuilding world, a stage where legends are honored, champions are remembered, and new titans rise to claim glory. Among the names that reverberate with unmatched power is Cutler, a figure etched in golden letters within the annals of bodybuilding. Though his competitive days are behind him, his presence remains immortal, casting a long shadow over today's competitors who still measure their aspirations against the colossal standards he set years ago. Cutler was not merely a bodybuilder. He was an architect of muscle, sculpting a physique that blended sheer size with razor-sharp conditioning. His journey to the Olympia throne was not one of overnight triumph, but a saga of resilience, setbacks, and comebacks. Fans still recall the seismic shift in 2006 when he dethroned Ronnie Coleman, ending the 8-year reign of the king. It was a moment that shook the foundations of the sport, a clash of titans where the challenger's hunger overcame the legend's legacy. That night, Cutler not only became Mr. Olympia, but also a symbol of perseverance, proof that relentless determination can topple even the mightiest of dynasties. His reign was defined not by a single victory, but by the battles he fought, both on stage and within himself. Cutler claimed the Sando Trophy 4 times, 2006, 2007, 2009, and 2010. Yet what made him unforgettable was the way he reclaimed it. In 2008, when Dexter Jackson rose to the top, many thought Jay's time had passed, that the curtain had fallen on his era. But in 2009, he roared back with one of the greatest comebacks in bodybuilding history, presenting a physique that silenced doubters and cemented his place as a warrior who would never bow easily. His front double biceps pose that year became legendary, a defining image of triumph and redemption. Even beyond the Olympia stage, Cutler's influence carved deep roots into bodybuilding culture. His approach to training was intense, methodical, and relentless, inspiring countless athletes to push beyond limits. Fans admired not only his muscle density and symmetry, but also his discipline, humility, and approachable demeanor. He was a champion who connected with the people, a gladiator who understood that the sport was bigger than trophies. His blue-collar work ethic, molded in the construction fields of Massachusetts, carried into his training and made him relatable to fans who saw in him a reflection of their own struggles and victories. Today, while the spotlight of competition shines on new warriors, Jay's legacy continues to burn brightly. He remains a mentor, entrepreneur, and ambassador of bodybuilding, sharing knowledge with the same intensity he once brought to the stage. His supplement brand, his motivational talks, and his appearances at expos keep him tied to the heartbeat of the sport. Younger athletes look to him not only as a legend, but as proof that greatness is built day by day, set by set, and rep by rep. The echoes of Jay Cutler's battles on the Olympia stage remind the world that bodybuilding is more than muscle. It is a narrative of courage, resilience, and human willpower. His story stands as a cinematic masterpiece, painted in sweat and illuminated under the blinding lights of the world's greatest stage. As Mr. Olympia 2025 unfolds, fans still whisper his name in awe, comparing today's giants to the man who once stood unshaken, broad-shouldered and unyielding, a four-time king whose legacy remains carved into the very soul of bodybuilding. Mr. Olympia 2025 updates have shaken the bodybuilding world with whispers of comebacks, rivalries, and legends returning to the spotlight. Among the names that still echo in every conversation, one stands above most. Heath, the seven-time Mr. Olympia, a man whose presence still casts a long shadow over the stage even years after his reign. Though not competing in this year's contest, his legacy is felt in every flex, every pose, and every competitor striving for perfection. The aura of Heath remains a benchmark, a golden standard of symmetry, conditioning, and dominance that carve its name in history. When Heath first stepped into the limelight, he was not just another bodybuilder. He was a storm, a force of nature wrapped in muscle. His journey from college basketball to becoming one of the most decorated champions in bodybuilding history is nothing short of cinematic. With each victory, he didn't just lift trophies, he lifted the standards of the sport. The gift, as the world called him, brought something rare to the Olympia stage, a fusion of roundness, fullness, and detail that made his physique look sculpted by the gods themselves. Even today, fans recall the days when Phil walked onto the stage, lights striking his physique, creating shadows that highlighted his flawless separation. His chest, thick and powerful, his arms balloon-like and etched with veins, his midsection tight and controlled. He was an artist presenting his masterpiece. The crowd would erupt with every pose, as though they knew they were witnessing more than a competition. They were witnessing history being written in real time. The years of his dominance, from 2011 to 2017, were a reign of unmatched control. He didn't just win, he ruled. Every Olympia became a test of whether anyone could challenge him. And more often than not, the answer was no. His stage presence was commanding, his confidence unshakable, and his physique unrelenting. Critics may have debated his battles with rivals like Greene or Shawn Rhoden, but no one could deny that Heath elevated the sport to a new level of artistry and athleticism. Off the stage, Phil's influence spread far beyond bodybuilding circles. He became a global ambassador for the sport, inspiring countless athletes to chase their dreams. His mentality of relentless pursuit, his discipline, and his refusal to settle for mediocrity made him more than a champion. He became a symbol of excellence. For aspiring bodybuilders, he was proof that perfection, though nearly impossible, could be pursued with every ounce of effort, every rep, and every sacrifice. As Olympia 2025 brings fresh faces and new battles, the whispers of what if Phil Heath returned still linger in the minds of fans. Could he have added an eighth Sando, tying Ronnie Coleman and Lee Haney? Could he have reminded the world once again why he was called the Gift? These questions ignite debates, but they also highlight one truth. Phil Heath's name cannot be erased from the sports narrative. His achievements continue to inspire competitors who measure themselves against his era of dominance. Today, Phil remains a towering figure in bodybuilding culture, still involved in shaping the future of the sport through mentorship, appearances, and his presence as a legend. The cinematic aura of his career is eternal. Like a warrior who conquered countless battles and left the battlefield undefeated in spirit, his story lives on. Mr. Olympia 2025 may have new champions rising, but Phil Heath's legacy still looms like a monument on the horizon. Mr. Olympia 2025 updates have sent shockwaves across the bodybuilding world, and one name rising through the echoes of anticipation is none other than Vido, the Russian powerhouse who has taken the modern era of bodybuilding by storm. His journey has been nothing short of a cinematic masterpiece, blending raw power, aesthetic perfection, and an iron will that refuses to bend under the weight of pressure. As the stage lights prepare to illuminate the giants of the sport, Vido stands ready, sculpted like a marble statue, but alive with the fire of ambition. Every competitor steps onto the Olympia stage, chasing immortality. But Vido's story feels different, like destiny itself carved his frame. His physique is a living testament to symmetry and size, where monstrous mass meets razor-sharp conditioning. The wide, flaring lats spread like wings, tapering into a tight waist that exaggerates the dramatic X-frame every judge and fan dreams of. His quads sweep outward like the columns of a fortress. Each striation telling a story of endless hours under unforgiving weight. Veins snake across his chest and arms like rivers of electricity, carrying not just blood, but years of obsession, sacrifice, and relentless discipline. Vido's rise has been meteoric, a story of a man who emerged from the Russian bodybuilding scene and forced the global stage to take notice. With every contest, he silenced doubt, replacing skepticism with awe. Fans remember the early comparisons, some soft flashes of the greats in him, a balance of mass and shape that felt reminiscent of bodybuilding's golden era, yet advanced with the freakish density of today's standards. By 2025, the whispers have turned into roars. He is no longer just a future contender. He is a present danger to the throne. The build-up to this year's Olympia has been a narrative in itself. Social media platforms have erupted with training clips of good Vido moving weights that seem impossible for a man chasing symmetry. His squats look like earth-shaking rituals, his presses like the movements of a titan forging strength from steel. In every rep, he carries the hunger of a man not satisfied with applause, but determined to seize history. He is sculpting more than a body. He is sculpting a legacy. But what makes good Vido stand out is not just size or aesthetics. It is presence. When he poses, it's as if the air changes. The front double biceps erupts with peaks that seem carved from stone, while the vacuum pose shrinks his midsection into impossibly tight lines that frame his upper body like a work of art. The side chest reveals thickness, density, and grainy conditioning that feels almost surreal. And when he spreads his back on stage, it's less a pose and more a declaration, a dominance that demands recognition. For the fans, good Vido embodies the dream of bodybuilding itself. The transformation of the human form into something godlike, larger than life, yet built with human struggle. He has become the symbol of potential realized, proof that with sacrifice, one can transcend limitations. His Russian roots add to the mystique, a reminder that bodybuilding is no longer confined to one culture or one continent, but a global brotherhood where greatness can emerge from any corner of the world. As the Olympia stage awaits, the narrative writes itself. Can good Vido topple the reigning champions? Can his blend of size, shape, and conditioning create the perfect storm that judges cannot ignore? The arena will be filled with legends, each chasing their own destiny. But when the spotlight hits good Vido, it will feel like a cinematic climax, the moment the hero finally confronts fate. Mr. Olympia 2025 updates have set the bodybuilding world on fire, and once again, all eyes drift toward the Egyptian giant, Mamdouh El-Sbieh, better known as Big Ramy. As the lights prepare to shine on the grand stage, whispers spread through gyms and forums about whether Ramy can reclaim the throne he once held with unshakable dominance. The aura surrounding him isn't just about muscle mass or victories. It's about the journey of a man who reshaped the meaning of size, symmetry, and stage presence in modern bodybuilding. When Big Ramy steps on stage, it's not merely competition, it's a spectacle. His frame, towering at over 300 pounds in the off-season, transforms into a living sculpture under the harsh lights of the Olympia. Every pose commands silence. Every flex tells a story. The crowd knows they are witnessing something more than just a bodybuilder. They're watching a man who embodies the impossible. His delts rise like mountains. His quads ripple with deep-cut striations, and his back stretches wide like the wings of a colossal creature. For many fans, this is the standard of modern bodybuilding, a reminder of why the sport exists, to chase perfection, even if it lies just out of reach. Big Ramy's journey has been anything but ordinary. Rising from humble beginnings in Egypt. He was not destined for greatness on paper. Yet, driven by relentless hunger and hours upon hours of labor in the gym, he carved his path into bodybuilding history. Winning the Mr. Olympia title in 2020 and 2021, he silenced critics who once doubted his conditioning and stage presence. He became a symbol of national pride, a hero for millions who saw in him proof that dreams could transcend borders. Even after setbacks in recent years, his name continues to echo as one of the most feared competitors in the lineup. The anticipation for Olympia 2025 is not just about whether Ramy can win, but whether he can once again capture the magic that made him an unstoppable force. Fans recall the electricity of his first Olympia win, the way he dwarfed legends on stage, and the overwhelming energy that erupted when his name was called as champion. That memory has not faded. It lingers like a spark, waiting to ignite once more. Ramy's presence in this year's Olympia carries the weight of legacy. He is no longer the young upstart with everything to prove, but the seasoned warrior who has already tasted glory and seeks to etch his name deeper into the annals of bodybuilding history. Each training session becomes a battle, each rep a reminder of the fire that fuels him. At this level, it's not only about muscles, it's about the mind, the willpower to endure pain, to sacrifice, to transform. As Olympia night draws closer, fans around the world debate, will Ramy's conditioning hold? Will his massive size overshadow others? Or will younger competitors steal the spotlight? The stage is unpredictable, but one thing is certain. When Big Ramy steps into the light, the atmosphere changes. The audience doesn't just see a competitor. They see a legend in real time, sculpting his destiny under the roar of the crowd. In the cinematic tale of bodybuilding, Big Ramy stands as both a giant and an underdog, a man who has climbed to the highest peaks, stumbled, and yet continues to rise. Olympia 2025 is more than a competition for him. It's a chapter of redemption, of proving that greatness can be recaptured. And as the curtain rises and the world holds its breath, one question remains. Will the Egyptian Pharaoh reclaim his crown, or will his story take another unexpected turn? Either way, his presence ensures the Olympia stage will never be the same. Mr. Olympia 2025 updates echo through the halls of bodybuilding with anticipation, and one name that resonates louder than ever is Michael Krezo. His journey is not just about lifting iron or sculpting muscle. It's about rewriting the narrative of what determination, resilience, and raw aesthetic power can achieve on the grandest stage of them all. As fans worldwide gear up for the spectacle, Krezo emerges not just as a contender, but as a force whose presence commands attention, his story unfolding like a cinematic masterpiece where every rep, every pose, and every sacrifice is a scene etched in bodybuilding history. Born with an imposing frame and fueled by an insatiable hunger for greatness, Michael Krezo has always been destined to stand under the brightest lights. His towering physique, marked by broad shoulders, dense chest, razor-sharp abs, and arms that seem sculpted from stone, has long made him stand. Out. But it isn't just size that makes Krezo remarkable. It's the precision in his proportions, the aesthetic lines that harken back to the golden era of bodybuilding blended seamlessly with the mass and density demanded by modern competition. On stage, he appears less like a man and more like a living statue, every flex amplifying his dominance and artistry. In the lead-up to Olympia 2025, the bodybuilding world has watched Krezo's transformation with awe. His off-season grind revealed a relentless pursuit of balance, chiseling away at weaknesses while amplifying his strengths. Each training session carried with it the weight of destiny, each drop of sweat a silent promise that he would rise to the moment. His conditioning this year has sparked conversations, with analysts and fans alike pointing to his vascularity, fullness, and the grainy detail of his muscles as evidence that Krezo has stepped into an entirely new echelon of competition. There's a cinematic aura that surrounds him when he walks into the gym. The clank of iron, the rhythmic intensity of his lifts, and the laser focus in his eyes paint the picture of a man possessed by purpose. Unlike many, Krezo's journey hasn't been without criticism. Some questioned his ability to stand against the elite, doubting whether his aesthetic dominance could hold against mass monsters or ultra-conditioned veterans. Yet, time and again, he has silenced the critics, refining his craft, sharpening his stage presence, and evolving into an athlete whose potential now borders on destiny. When Krezo steps onto the Olympia stage, it is not just muscle he presents, it is the story of perseverance. Under the bright lights, his skin-tight conditioning reveals every fiber of struggle, every moment of sacrifice, and every ounce of discipline that has defined his path. Each pose is delivered with intensity, yet with grace, like an artist unveiling a masterpiece. The crowd watches in awe as his silhouette dominates the backdrop, his arms swelling like cannons, his chest rising like an unyielding fortress, his quads carving deep valleys of definition. Beyond the physical, Michael Krezo carries with him a presence that transcends bodybuilding. He embodies the spirit of an underdog turned giant, a relentless fighter who rose through international stages, earning respect and admiration across the globe. His journey inspires countless aspiring athletes who see in him not just a champion of muscle, but a champion of mindset. As Olympia 2025 draws closer, the stage is set for a battle of legends. Will Krezo's blend of mass, aesthetics, and razor-sharp conditioning carve his name alongside the immortals of bodybuilding? The anticipation is electric, the spotlight ready to capture every moment of glory or heartbreak. In the end, whatever the outcome, one truth remains undeniable. Michael Krezo has arrived, and his cinematic journey continues to inspire a generation. Mr. Olympia 2025 updates sweep across the bodybuilding world with a mix of nostalgia and anticipation, and one name continues to echo louder than many of today's champions: Ronnie Coleman. Though years have passed since his dominance on stage, his legacy still casts a shadow so immense that even current contenders find themselves measured against the standard he set. The audience of today may be focused on who will claim the crown in Las Vegas, but the legend of Ronnie, the King Coleman, is still the benchmark, the gold line that defines the sport itself. The story of Ronnie Coleman is not just about muscle, strength, or titles. It is about an unyielding pursuit of greatness. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, he stormed into the bodybuilding scene with a physique so otherworldly, it seemed sculpted by forces beyond human will. His frame was a combination of sheer mass and razor-sharp conditioning, a fusion of power and detail that left even judges in awe. For 8 consecutive years, from 1998 to 2005, Ronnie Coleman held the Mr. Olympia title, joining and then surpassing the greats before him. To watch him walk on stage was to witness a spectacle, a cinematic moment where muscles were not merely displayed, but performed like living art under the lights. The crowd's roar during those years was not just appreciation. It was disbelief turned into devotion. His arms looked like granite boulders, his legs resembled tree trunks carved with precision, and his back, the most iconic in bodybuilding history, spread wide like an unfolding canvas of raw power. Ronnie didn't just step on stage, he dominated it. Each pose was a declaration that the impossible had been achieved. The "Yeah buddy" and "lightweight baby" chants that followed him in the gym became part of bodybuilding folklore, proof that his strength extended beyond the stage and into culture itself. But greatness never comes without sacrifice. Ronnie Coleman trained with weights that rivaled powerlifters, pushing his body to limits most athletes would never dare touch. Heavy squats, monstrous deadlifts, brutal leg presses. His training sessions were battles, not workouts. He built his legacy rep by rep, set by set, each one costing him more than just energy. The years of relentless pounding eventually caught up to him, leading to surgeries, pain, and limitations. Yet even in those struggles, Ronnie's spirit never dimmed. His smile, his optimism, and his love for the sport turned him into more than a champion. He became an inspiration to millions who found strength in his resilience. Even now, in 2025, his presence is felt in every conversation about bodybuilding greatness. Athletes preparing for Mr. Olympia still look at Ronnie's footage, studying his posing routines, comparing their physiques against the living mountain he once was. Fans chant his name during expos. His videos trend across platforms, and his legacy remains unshaken despite the march of time. When a spotlight shines on the stage today and new physiques rise to claim the throne, the reflection of Ronnie's era is always there, reminding everyone what the pinnacle truly looks like. Ronnie Coleman's story is not just about victories, but about spirit. From a humble background, working as a police officer, to standing as the most celebrated bodybuilder of his time, his journey feels like a cinematic tale of grit, sacrifice, and unrelenting ambition. His body may have faced the toll of his choices, but his legacy remains unbreakable, towering like the physique he once displayed under the brightest lights. As Mr. Olympia 2025 continues to crown new legends, one truth remains unchanged. Ronnie Coleman is more than a name in history. He is the embodiment of bodybuilding itself. Mr. Olympia 2025 updates are flooding the bodybuilding world with excitement, anticipation, and heated debates, and among the names that have ignited the conversation stands a true titan of iron, Marcus Rule. Known for his jaw-dropping mass and legendary presence, Marcus is more than a competitor. He is an unforgettable symbol of raw size and unapologetic intensity. Even though the current generation of bodybuilders carries the torch of competition, Marcus Rule's influence continues to cast a shadow over the stage, reminding everyone of the golden days when sheer size could shock an audience into silence. The echoes of Marcus's dominance still reverberate in gyms around the world. When people speak about freakish physiques, his name inevitably enters the discussion. His legacy was not just about competing, it was about redefining what a human body could look like under the bright stage lights of Olympia. Standing on stage, Marcus was not just another competitor. He was a walking fortress of muscle, a figure so overwhelming that the crowd couldn't help but rise to its feet. His arms were often described as among the biggest in bodybuilding history, with delts like boulders and a chest that looked as though it had been carved out of granite. As Olympia's season draws near, fans are reminded of the days Marcus stormed the stage. He wasn't always the most aesthetic competitor by traditional standards, but what he brought was a unique brand of power and shock value. When Marcus posed, it was as if the stage itself struggled to contain him. He radiated intensity, blending brute strength with a showmanship that made him unforgettable. Even the judges, who often leaned toward balance and proportion, couldn't deny the sheer spectacle of Rule's mass. He represented a philosophy of bodybuilding that dared to push limits, no matter the criticism. Behind the spotlight and the roaring crowds, Marcus Rule's journey was one of grit and resilience. Rising from humble beginnings in Germany, he transformed himself through relentless dedication. Every rep, every set, every ounce of food consumed was part of a mission to build something extraordinary. His training videos became cult classics, inspiring generations with his no-nonsense approach. Marcus wasn't just showing workouts. He was showing the mindset of a man obsessed with growth, a man willing to endure pain and sacrifice for greatness. Though retired, Marcus's influence on modern bodybuilding remains undeniable. The new wave of competitors chasing titles at Mr. Olympia 2025 still carry the echoes of his presence. Athletes striving for mass, density, and a stage presence that commands respect are in many ways chasing the standard Marcus set. In a sport where the balance between aesthetics and freak factor is constantly debated, Rule stood proudly on the extreme side of mass, and his fans loved him for it. The Olympia stage this year will showcase incredible athletes, men who embody the evolving standards of physique perfection. But Marcus Rule remains a timeless figure. His story is told in every corner of bodybuilding culture. Forums, gyms, and YouTube highlights all testify to the shock and awe-inspired. His name carries a weight few others can match, because Marcus wasn't just a competitor, he was a spectacle, a reminder that bodybuilding is also about emotion, about making the crowd feel something unforgettable. As the world counts down to Mr. Olympia 2025, Marcus's legacy looms large. Fans may debate who will take the crown this year, but they also reminisce about the days when Marcus stepped under the lights, dwarfing his rivals and electrifying the arena. He may no longer battle on stage, but in the hearts of fans, Marcus Rule is forever the Colossus of bodybuilding, a man who redefined mass, shocked the world, and etched his name in iron. Mr. Olympia 2025 updates have set the stage for one of the most electrifying seasons in bodybuilding history. And among the names sparking waves of attention is Nexilla, a powerhouse whose presence commands both respect and awe. As the world of Iron Warriors prepares for its most prestigious battle under the blinding lights of Las Vegas, Nexilla is stepping forward with a physique that doesn't just fit the mold of a competitor, it breaks it apart. His journey is not just about size, symmetry, or conditioning, but about the raw persona he carries, a living embodiment of strength sculpted by relentless willpower. The roar of the crowd intensifies when his name is announced, a sound that echoes like thunder in the halls of bodybuilding. Nexilla walks to the stage with an aura that transcends mere competition. His neck, famously massive and the origin of his moniker, is more than a physical attribute. It's become his brand, his identity, a symbol of the unshakable grit. That defines him. With traps towering like carved stone and a chest as broad as a fortress wall, his physique radiates power. The spotlight glimmers over the deep striations across his arms, each muscle fiber telling the story of endless nights under the barbell and countless battles fought against fatigue, pain, and self-doubt. But what makes Nexilla's rise truly cinematic is not only his body, it's his journey. Coming from humble beginnings, he forged himself in gyms that felt more like iron temples than fitness centers, where sweat stained the floors and determination hung in the air heavier than the plates on the bar. He was never just another competitor in the making. He was a force destined to leave an imprint. Early in his career, many saw him as an outsider, a raw talent too wild, too unrefined for the polished world of Olympia elites. Yet over time, his work ethic silenced critics. With each appearance on stage, he honed not only his physique, but also his craft. The art of posing, the science of conditioning, the mental fortitude to stand eye to eye with the giants of the sport. As Olympia 2025 unfolds, Nexilla is no longer just a name whispered in underground gyms or on social media forums. He's a contender whose presence shakes the lineup. His back flares wide like wings ready to take flight. His quads carry the density of years of grueling squats. And his midsection, tight and chiseled, speaks to the discipline few can maintain. The audience sees not only muscle, but also the fire of someone who has built his empire rep by rep, set by set, sacrifice by sacrifice. The cinematic drama heightens as he takes his spot under the blazing stage lights. Each pose he strikes feels larger than life, like a scene torn from a gladiator film. The crowd reacts in unison. A wave of energy meeting the power of his presence. Competitors glance his way, some with respect, others with unease, because Nexilla represents something beyond ordinary rivalry. He represents the kind of hunger that reshapes destinies. Yet, beneath the hardened exterior lies a story of perseverance. The road to Olympia has been paved with challenges, injuries, and doubts that would have crushed a weaker spirit. But Nexilla's resilience forged him into steel. Every scar, every setback became fuel for his fire.